You have all these things going on. You have all this potential. You're in the rat race. You're working. You're working hard. You just focus on the goal, trying to achieve that goal. Then you finally achieve that goal. You see you got some PTO stacked up. You go ahead and use that PTO to give yourself about a week, 2 weeks break. And then at that moment, once you put your email on out of office saying your phone DND, and you talk to your close friends and family, the momentum stops. When that momentum stops, you take the time to reflect on where you are, take the time to reflect on where you've been, and you take the time to reflect on where you're headed. This is what I call the pause. Because for you, even though the world may still be going, everything for you stops. And for me, these moments are the best moments. Because while you're in it and working, you're just focused on the goal and trying to achieve whatever you're aiming for. So you're constantly moving, never stopping, and the only time you're stopping is when you're going to sleep. Other than that, still working, still studying, still practicing, still doing everything you can to be the best that you can be. And then when you finally give yourself that break, that's when you get that time to reflect. You get to pause in a moment and really see what you've done and see where you're headed. And these times of reflection are very important because you got to be able to take time to take inventory. You got to be able to take the time to look at what's going on, everything that you've done, and where you are. And then after that, assess where you need to be to get where you want to go and what you need to do to get where you want to go. All this is very important. Are you taking the time to relax and sit and look at everything that you've done so far? And if you're still headed towards that path that you always wanted to go towards, you need to do these things. 'Cause otherwise, you're just stuck in this rat race and you're stuck in this constant mode of working without actually seeing where you're at and judging your progress. You need to be able to judge your progress so you know exactly where you're headed and what you need to do to improve it. And if you're at a point where you're not trying to improve your progress and you're trying to stay stagnant and stay where you are, not in a negative way, not in a judgmental way, but you're comfortable, you're in a good space, then that's fine. Take inventory and see if you're still able to do that. If you're still able to do that, cool. But if you're sitting there and you want to achieve more and you want to do more, then you need to sit there and go over everything and see what it is that you're doing that's good, what it is that you need to work on, and then see how far you are with your progress. Are you where you want to be? Is there still some time for you to go and do what you need to do to get to where you want to go? Is this just a pit stop or is this the end? Is this the finish line? Which one is it? For me, I uh I pause and reflect typically, you know, when life events happen. So like while I was working at Walgreens, I didn't really take the time to pause and reflect because I was in go mode. The only time that I actually took the time to pause and reflect was when, I went on paternity leave. And then I was able to take care of my son, help my wife, and uh, the times where I was able to get to myself, I would take that time to see where I'm at and see what I want to do. And at that point, I had realized, okay, I'm about to finish school soon. So I need to make more money, and I don't want to continue to just be a shift lead. I want to do more and make more money. So what do I need to do? So then I'm like, okay, well, let's look at the options. I can stay at this store, be a shift lead, and hopefully be an ESM one day, and then do that. Or if I had to, I can go to another store and be an ESM and be an assistant manager and make more money over there. It's like I didn't know exactly what I was going to do. I just knew the path that I was going to go. I could just try to be promoted to an ESM. And then besides that, I was still looking at other jobs as well, saying like if I leave out this industry and go somewhere else, maybe I can get my degree to give me a better paying job somewhere. So that's what I did. I just took inventory. And then once I got back from paternity leave, you already have your plan at this point. You're like, okay, so what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna try to be an assistant manager now that I got this degree and get a promotion and stuff like that. I get back and I find out that they gave the position to someone else who said they didn't want the position in the first place a long time ago. But things can change, people can change. So then when that happens, it's like, oh, okay. So I'm kind of in this tough spot where I'm stuck as a shift lead with no upward mobility, and I'm kind of stuck. So what can I do at that point? And then I was like, well, I still want to be promoted and I still want to try this position. So if I gotta leave, so be it. So that's what I did. I found another store, applied, had interviews, did good on the interviews, then I got promoted. I got where I needed to go. So in the end, I ended up getting that promotion. I ended up getting a job. It just wasn't ideal to where I wanted it to be. Because if I got it where I wanted it to be, then it would have been right where I was, where it's literally like 15 minutes from my house. But this position was literally an hour, hour 10 from my house. But even though it being an hour, hour 10 away, it's just that opportunity of actually being an assistant store manager and getting paid more, where it's like, well, you know, the ends justify the means. So if uh if this is the role I gotta take in order to get this opportunity, then as a family, we just have to make that sacrifice and try to make it work. And in the end, that's what we did. And it all worked out. Now, of course, at that point, you're focused on work. And it doesn't take me that long to think of exit plans, to be honest. Even with that being said, I could think of an exit plan, but not be fully on to leave. It's just that, just in case you want to know what you could do and where you would be headed. So that's something that I always do. And the plan was potentially to be a store manager and move up to being that. So it was, well, actually, the first 6 months was really just getting the experience and trying to be the best assistant manager that I could. And then at that point, I was like, okay, so I want to work towards being a store manager, and I still got my degree. So if I can get a higher paying job other than that, then I'll go towards that too. It just depends. But even then, looking at that, I was like, I could stay here. I'm comfortable. I'm in a good spot. But also, if I want to make more money, I'm not going to make more money doing retail. So it's like I might need to look outside my industry to try to find something else that's better, that'll pay more. And in the end, I did stay at Walgreens for a while, and um, I did everything I needed to do, did all my qualifications, and at that point, all I need to do is take the pharmacy test, and then I could be an assistant, I could be a store manager, and I never got that opportunity. And that's because I went into a different industry and got a new job that paid more. So that's where we're at right now. And I've been there for about, it'll be 2 months next week, 2 months. And it's with me, anytime there's a new job, it's always the same situation, same dynamics. You know, when I get there, people already feel a certain way about me, even before I really do anything. And it's not even because I'm like an asshole and I talk to people negatively. It's usually something else. But I never actually know what that thing is. It's just that people treat me differently. But even then, it's the same process. It's always that happens. I work hard, earn my quals, uh, try to excel at my work. And then it chills out a little bit. Now you may have those people that still dislike you, but they can't really stop forward momentum. They can try, unless you do something really fucked up. There's nothing really they can do except be annoyed. So I move along with the same ideas and the same process everywhere I go. Same dynamics. Doesn't matter how well you try to be in your first impression. It happens. So, that's where I'm at right now. But nonetheless, it took me taking that time to pause and really think about everything to really know what I want to do. And with my son being here, the time I took the pause was really like during the summer, during his birthday, that was like the perfect time because, you know, we're celebrating his first birthday and, I'm asking for those days off so I can be with my family. So I asked for those days off. We celebrated his first birthday. And while I get to celebrate with him and make sure him and my wife have a good time, I'm also in the background looking at options and what I can and can't do. Because sometimes when you're in the throes of working, you don't really have the time or mental capacity to be able to look at your career and what you can and can't do and where you should apply and where you shouldn't apply. You just don't have the capability or capacity. But when you have those days off where you can actually sit back, relax, take some time, and then look at your situation, those are the times that you want to do it. So that's what I did. And then at that point, I had been applying to jobs in this new industry for, well, how long was it? Actually, I think I started like in January, maybe, just applying to places. Um, and obviously none did, but I was still getting emails and calls saying, "Oh, we're interested in this and that." So, that was happening. I was getting momentum. It was okay. And then once I did that, I was still working at Walgreens, still making it work. But just that now at Walgreens, I had gotten to a point to where it wasn't hard anymore, and I had gotten to a groove where I had a system on how to do things. So it made things a lot easier. So work wasn't really work anymore. It was just like, okay, routine. This is what we're doing today. We're doing this, we're doing that. Okay, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that. And it just it happened that way. I got used to it. And then you know, got rejected a few times. And then once I got to March, got rejected again. And I continued working at Walgreens. But then you know, I had good interviews. I didn't have bad interviews. Besides that one with Dan Heisenberg, but he was trying me. And in that moment, I mean, what could I do? I couldn't really do anything about it. I felt how I felt. So I was passionate about what I was talking about. And that's how it came out. And it probably would have been a bad deal anyway, even if I would have been making 90K, uprooting my family while my son is barely turning one to New York, and not even like the city of New York, but like upstate New York in the country. Probably would have been kind of crazy. I'm just saying. Nonetheless, um, I ended up getting an email from the same company that rejected me months later. And this is around the same time where I'm about to take my pharmacy exam so I can become a store manager. So, it's like you're in two situations now. You can either stay in Walgreens and try to be a store manager and, make whatever it is, probably like 50, 60K a year, maybe max 70, but more likely they weren't going to give you no 70. So, make that and then, hope through the years with, salary increases and stuff like that, you can make more potentially, but you'll never break 100K, I'm pretty sure, unless you're a district manager. So it's capped. Or, I can go to the new industry where, I had a good interview. The start off pay is more than what I'm getting as an assistant store manager. And the amount of pay that you can make long term potentially is more if you stay within the industry and move up. So at that point, it's like, okay, well, money potentially I can make more. The only thing is, just like Walgreens, it was an hour away, maybe an extra 5, 10 minutes, but you know, it's more than an hour drive. Yeah, at this point, I'm like, well, if I'm making more money, if it's more than an hour drive, I'll take it. Because in the end, the short-term sacrifice of having to drive longer just to go to this job doesn't outweigh the long-term benefits of getting paid more, getting bonuses, and potentially staying in the industry and making more money by moving up in this industry. So, had that interview, did well, and ended up getting the offer. So that's where we are now. Now, of course, you go from being a manager to being a regular associate, so that's an adjustment. But for me, it's not really hard because one thing I can do and always willing to do is follow. You gotta learn to follow before you learn to lead. I can definitely follow. I don't mind being a lead, but I don't like being a lead while not being equipped with the tools to be able to handle whatever situation arises. Um, and it's not like I can't do it in general. I've been a supervisor in many different places. It's just in a new industry. If I don't know all the rules and regulations and how to do everything, how am I going to lead someone to do the right thing if I don't even know myself, you know, fully what the right thing to do is? I haven't been in this industry in like 2, 3 years. Things might have changed, you know? So, um, I did that and that got me where I'm at now. And I'm just saying this to say, it's all due to reflection, looking back at where you are and looking at where you're headed and trying to, make that a thing. Set your goal and try to achieve your goal. I always try to do that. And I would say the majority of the time, any goals that I have, I do end up getting them. They just never happen the way that I expect them to. Yeah. They never happen the way I expect them to, and there's always caveats. But in the end, I do always end up getting to where I'm trying to go. It's just not the path that I thought I was going to go on. For you just need to stay focused on what your goal is and what you want to do. And just doesn't have to be work, it could be life in general. Take inventory on what you want to do, where you want to go, what makes you happy. And if you see that you're not in the situation where you're able to do those things, then take the steps to adjust your life so you can do whatever it is that makes you happy and um, put you in a place to achieve whatever goals you're setting. Reflections are very important. They're very, very important. I'm just Kastoan, and this is Hard Reset.